If you used any generative media tool lately, you have probably noticed a trend. Nodes everywhere the eye can see, whether it's Krea, Weavy, the OG Comfy UI, frickin' Runway, heck, even Adobe is leaning into nodes. And quite frankly, I'm a little worried, because to me, nodes aren't the future. In fact, I would posit that they're getting in the way. They give you the illusion of control, but you're still hitting the generate button, waiting for the model to come back with something that you hope is close to what you want. I would instead posit what we need is 3D control. Here's why. Look, in my opinion, when we're doing generative AI right now, we are largely flying blind. We don't have the equivalent of a viewport, right? Like this 3D representation that allows us to see exactly what we had in mind before we actually hit that render button. It really does feel like typing in some prompts and maybe a couple of image references and hoping for the best. Now, if you used any 3D application, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is the visual anchor, the source of truth that gives you this interactive window into the world that you are creating. And I would posit that in the case of AI, that's exactly what we need, except we're co-creating this world. And it's really funny to me because a lot of people are like, oh my God, but Bilavo, like 3D is really hard. Like I don't want to have to manipulate the camera angle and where all the people are and the lighting sources and all this other stuff. And instead they're dealing with this, like this crazy node graph that like just is so hard to grok. I mean, look, like I grew up on After Effects and Nuke. I appreciate when you need nodes. But honestly, most of the time, especially for creative tasks, they kind of get in the way. Now look, this of course makes sense, right? Because what we're doing is plumbing, but let's not call it filmmaking or content creation, right? Because essentially nodes are a very effective way for you to take a bunch of different models, a bunch of different operations, and be able to connect them together. Yes, it's great for that, but think about how far that is from the language and art of actually being on a set and recording something with your friends even. Completely night and day. And that's sort of my point, that nodes are like the assembly language of AI creation, but we need a higher order abstraction that feels a lot like it does to create on a soundstage. Now look, nodes of course aren't new. As I mentioned earlier, like they have been the backbone of all sorts of crazy tools. Like of course, Houdini famously, Nuke is another great example, of course, Blender as well. And the whole idea was like, how do you create a visual interface for people who aren't savvy with programming so they get the right knobs and can control sort of like the flow of data, the sequence and order of operations in a visual fashion, not having to resort to writing lines of code. But the thing is, we're missing half of the equation, right? Like sure, you can have this like node graph representation. Heck, you can maintain a very detailed 3D scene graph that you can manipulate, but you don't have the viewport. Right now, the viewport is basically hit that slot machine, baby, and hope you get a nice video generation, or incrementally build out an image and then post-process that and then post-process that and on we go. In a sense, what we're lacking is real-time preview. And what I'm excited about is we've got this whole new crop of real-time video models that are popping up that will actually make this a possibility. Now, before I get ahead of myself, let's take a look at sort of like the three approaches to create content right now and look at the strengths and weaknesses very quickly. Like obviously you've got the stack, right? Like this is a layer-based editing approach that we all know and love. If you use Adobe Photoshop or After Effects, you know this sort of sandwich logic is very easy to understand. Like the order of operations of compositing is you got the bottom of the stack and then you're just sandwiching things on top of it, right? You can easily move things above or below an object just by changing where it is in the stack. Now, of course, as you probably also know, if you're in After Effects and you're like 50 pre-comps deep into, you know, a composite that you're trying to do, those layers can quickly become your enemy. This is where the node graph approach is super helpful. Like essentially you've got this approach for plumbing all your data with all sorts of operations that you can compose together and do very sophisticated image manipulation and, you know, data processing. Yeah, but as you probably noticed, like, you know, you still need the timeline view, right? Like the layers work really well in concert with the timeline, especially when you're doing things like keyframing, right? That gets a little bit more challenging once you start getting into node land, right? The point being, the flow itself is not enough. You need that timeline view. So I would posit that the closest thing we actually have is number 3 over here, which is the spatial solution a la Unreal Engine. Inside of Unreal Engine, you can do all of these things. You've got node graphs when you need them. You've got the timeline editor when you need them. Heck, you can even switch to a sequencer view where you're like basically moving around your shot list when you need that. And of course, you've got the viewport to understand exactly what it is you're doing and manipulating. So this is the problem, right? Like right now we're in this space where you've got a new Lego block that drops every freaking 2 weeks, that the main problem everyone's trying to solve is like, well, how do you put all these pieces together? And everyone's defaulted as a consequence to the node graph. There's very little innovation that's actually happening on like temporal or timeline based events, right? Like the best you can do is sort of extend stuff, right? That's not super helpful. I mean, like that's very limited, right? So the solution to me really does feel like a 3D application where we take advantage, especially of all these new world models that are popping up to populate the canvas, right? You create your character once because you know that's the character that's going to be in all of your generations. You create your environment once and you can image it from any direction that you want. And then you can frame the shots exactly as you like rather than typing in esoteric like prompt incantations, hoping that the camera angle comes close to what you had in mind, or drawing weird scribbles just to nudge things in the right direction. It gets really weird. So, and I think that is going to be super freeing. Like once we put the Lego bricks together, what are other views on exactly the composition that we're trying to build? And I think that'll take us from this sort of like cage of nodes to giving us a lot of agency to build something where you are defining the composition and the motion intuitively in a fashion that you know really well. Like, in fact, I really want to just be able to take my phone, have this motion tracked, have the camera feed go into the 3D application and use that to frame my shots out, right? Or use something like a 3D mouse if you're familiar with what this thing is. But I think the fact is the reason companies aren't doing this is because it's hard, right? Like on one hand, you've got the node graph style approach. The other way is templates. Like you see companies like Higgsfield doing this, basically saying like, let me take a bunch of these complicated, comfy UI graphs and wrap them in a very simple to use template. But that's only really good for making memes or really short form content. Like the moment you start talking about doing something that's longer than 3 to 5 minutes, it gets really exhausting. It is perhaps then unsurprising why most of the professionally generated content that you're seeing is a bunch of these chaotic 1 to 2 minute advertisements. That's all you really see. And there are just a handful of creators that are pushing this boulder up a hill to make multi-minute cinematic content. And hats off to them. But to bring everyone else into the mix, I think you need direct manipulation and real-time feedback. And as I alluded to earlier, finally, we have video models that are capable of doing exactly this, where it's not just you using something like Genie to WSAD around and move the camera, using your keyboard, but you could start pumping in the AR camera pose, like you mentioned, from your camera itself. And of course, you've got other models like MotionStream that let you essentially manipulate objects in the generation directly as well, just like you would in a 3D engine. And that's where the problem, right? Like these systems don't have spatial memory, and it's you as the human that's sort of managing the spatial context for it. In other words, you might go into World Labs and capture the environment from a couple different angles. And every time you do that generation, you might provide that image reference sort of as the ingredient. But I would posit that the system should do that for you. And you're seeing that World Labs is actually investing in a similar direction, where like if you're using a model like Genie and going around and you see an image, it records the 3-dimensional pose of each of these images to give it that spatial memory. But it's more than just the spatial memory of what you saw in environments, right? We're talking about building an entire experience, which is why I think it is very beneficial to have an explicit 3D scene graph. And as all these like visual language models get better and better at doing amazing things in things like 3JS, you must have seen some of my previous experiences building amazing fun things. In fact, heck, I built 2 games that you can go play on YouTube that were entirely vibe coded, right? Like this tech already exists. It just hasn't been married perfectly with these amazing video diffusion models and autoregressive models that are capable of doing amazing things on the visual end. So the beauty of a 3D scene graph is sort of like nodes for the AI itself. Like it's this representation that tells the AI system everything that's in the environment, the entities that are within it, the characteristics of those entities, interactivity that is attached to any of those entities. It gives you this sort of language to intuitively author in viewport and timeline mode, but give the AI something that it can understand. And isn't it ironic? An AI system is better at understanding nodes than we are. Now, look, I'm excited to see there are companies that are trying to tackle this problem with a 3D first approach. A great example is Intangible AI, which basically lets you use text prompts to flesh out a scene in 3D, right? Like, so you know exactly what you want. You can manipulate everything with full 3D level control, and then you just use generative AI to sort of take it all the way. There's another tool like this called ArtCraft that lets you do exactly what I just described. Like you fleshed out your environment, right? Like you've got a character within it, and then you can go about prompting it. So like, especially when you're doing multi-shot continuity, exactly like this example, where let's say the protagonist needs a security camera CCTV view, very easy to do, or it needs to like hide behind this like artifact over here. You can scope that out so easily in this 3D world rather than having to prompt it or scribble it and do weird things. Want to get another angle, like, and then get like the jump scare reveal. Like those are all things that are so so much easier for you to plan out in 3D. That is fundamentally what I think is going to unlock these like multi-minute creation. And so I think having this hybrid approach of 3D that's combined with generative AI, right? Like where you've got the timeline view when you need it, you've got the nodes when you need it, but critically, you've got the node representation of the 3D environment that the LLM can absorb and reason about and help you manipulate. You can finally start unlocking multi-minute creations. Like we need that spatial AI engine. And it's kind of funny, if you've seen my previous videos about world models and physical AI, this is exactly what robotics needs too, right? Like, except the constraint for robotics training data is like, make this look super photorealistic and true to life. What we're talking about allows you to take creative liberties, right? Because photorealism and cinematic realism are very different things. So that's my take. Maybe I was a little spicy at the start, but you kind of have to do that for these type of videos, but hopefully the points that I'm bringing up engage with you, right? Like nodes are essentially a bridge to the future. They are not a destination. They're a good side dish, a good companion, but they can't be the main course. We need the viewport. We need the spatial 3D engine because ultimately we want creation to feel more human and not less, right? Like nodes are a representation to replace coding. Most coders today are just using Claude code and not even looking at the code. Why are we having creators fiddle around with all these node graphs? It makes no sense to me. And once we start embracing spatial interfaces, not only are we going to make better tools, right? Like we're creating tools that work like our minds do. You're replicating that experience, being on that virtual production and soundstage with your friends, creating a piece of content, except your budget is now unlimited and you can do it all inside the computer. All right, so that's it for this video. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about nodes? What do you think about timeline? What do you think about this spatial AI engine and this hybrid approach? What do you think is holding back multi-minute generations? And I'll see y'all in the next one. Cheers.